Now the muttaqeen, who are the muttaqeen? The muttaqeen are those people, those women and men, not those who we think do a lot of worship, big quantity of worship, lots of worship. No, rather those people who work hard to be cautious about their sins, leave their sins. Yes, it's good to do worship, to do deeds, worship deeds, prayers, but if a person doesn't leave the sins, then he is wasting his deeds, his worship. All his ma'mulat, all his practice goes to waste. So we should emphasize more on what? We should apply more weight on what? To become, to get taqwa and to become included in the group, to be included in the group of the muttaqeen. We need to do more of what? Leave the sins. We think, let me do as much ibadah as I can. Then after that we'll think that to be a wali Allah, to be close to Allah, to attain Allah's love, that our basis is one, do a lot of worship, a lot of prayers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's basis, criterion is not high quantity of ibadah. If a person does just this much, that the faraid Allah has given to us, the compulsory deeds, 5 times salah, and keep fasting in Ramadan, and zakah that has been apportioned to fulfill that zakat, and then Hajj, when the weather of Hajj comes, and to complete the Hajj if it is compulsory on the person. These are the compulsory actions. If a person does this much, he doesn't pray nafal, voluntary prayers, or ishraq, or tahajjud, doesn't do lengthy dhikr, doesn't do 10 Hajj, 10 Umrah, no problem. No problem. Alongside this, if an individual, that he focuses on leaving the sins, and the more he leaves the sins, the more he becomes the muttaqi. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. That's enough. That's enough. Now what do? Is that we emphasize on part A, voluntary actions, extra prayers, extra nawafil. We'll say he's a pious person. If someone asks you who's pious, we'll think, does he pray tahajjud? Does he pray ishraq? Or that person, did he pray this nafil? How many times did he perform Hajj? Oh, he does Hajj many times. Oh, he's pious. This is our criterion for somebody who's pious, isn't it? Is it? And then, he's gone again on Hajj this year. MashaAllah, he's very pious. He's arrived at the pedestal, the high pedestal. No problem. No doubt. He is pious. But pious is that person who Allah Ta'ala has defined as pious. It can't be anyone who just claims to be himself. If Allah Ta'ala says, the pious for me is that person, subhanallah, that he fulfills the faraid on time, the compulsory actions on time, and he saves himself from the sins. Yes, because disobedience of Allah says, I don't like this. So I'm mentioning this point for this reason, that us people, alhamdulillah, we are students of tazkiyah, we are trying to purify ourselves, so we should decide on our path and track. That's why we sit down and we revise the lessons, so we don't go off track left and right. So where do we need to emphasize more? Where? Then towards leaving the sins. And if we leave the sins, we'll become the muttaqi person. Yes, if you read the verses of the Quran, Allah has mentioned rewards for those who have taqwa. So many rewards. When Allah gives high reward in the Quran, Allah says immediately, this is for the muttaqeen. This for an individual who saved himself from lying and backbiting, saved himself from haram and unlawful deeds and music and singing, who doesn't oppress anybody, commit injustice, who doesn't commit fraud, who doesn't consume haram. For those people, Allah Ta'ala has kept Jannah. And the sin that I'm speaking about, or I'm going to speak about, what's the punishment? That Jahannam, hellfire, is such a place that there's no more darkness than in Jahannam, isn't it? The intensity of darkness. Everyone will be going to Jannah. The people will be destined for hellfire. They will have to go into that darkness. In the hadith it is stated that this sin will result in what? A certain darkness in Jahannam will be given to a person, that the darkness due to this sin will be worse, more intense and darker than the standard darkness of Jahannam. Imagine, do we understand now how severe is this sin that we're going to realize in a minute? That Allah Ta'ala will apportion a certain place, an abode and darkness in Jahannam as a result of this sin. May Allah forgive and protect us from this sin. Then it's stated, listen more, next hadith, that this is such a big sin, such a severe sin, that the person who commits this sin, even if he hangs himself upside down and begs and pleads to Allah, Allah will not listen to his dua. Allahu Akbar. May Allah protect us from this sin. Save us. Do you understand how bad is this sin? Now let's go further. Allah will not listen to his dua. He says, I'm not a sinful person. I've not committed sin. Look, he's done this. He's prospering. I've not done anything. Why me? So let's imagine from this sin that what is the punishment of this sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not listen to his dua. Let's go next step. The person who commits this sin, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never send his mercy onto that person. Now we're hopeful after sinning of what? Allah's rahmah, Allah's mercy. Okay, Allah's rahmah will save me, will be saved. Allah will say the door of my rahmah will be slammed shut on that person who commits this sin. Tell me, will that man go? Where will he go? So Allah will not listen to the person. Then we have something to hang on to, a hope. Allah will listen. Allah says, I won't listen to you. Oh, Allah's rahmah, Allah's ghafoor rahim. We hear this many times. We sin to the nth degree. Allah will be rahmah with us. Allah says, my rahmah doesn't arrive to that person. The question doesn't arise. Nor do I listen to his dua. Nor does my rahmah arrive to that person. And another hope we have. A very faint hope that we always hang on to. And mashallah, we do. We hang on to this hope. And there's a faint hope of mu'minas. What do we say? Allahu Akbar. We said, okay, at least there's another door that's open. The Holy Prophet ﷺ will hold on to him and ask him, request him for his shifa, intercession. This is a door we have visited. Hear about this one as well, then the response comes. This is such a severe sin, bad sin. Allah's Nabi ﷺ said that I will not intercede for that sinful person, for the sinner. Do the sin. Carry on, but I will not intercede for you, said Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I won't intercede for you, said Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now tell me, is this enough for us to understand? There's a long list of the disasters of the sin, but I think we don't need to go beyond that. All the doors are shut on our face. What do we do now? Millions don't know what we're discussing now, because they're so busy in this sin, so occupied, they don't even realize that they're sinning. Allahu Akbar. So what is the sin? This specific sin. The sin is dhulm, to commit dhulm, oppression, to oppress. So now when we say this, we say, I'm not a dhalim. I'm not a dhalim, I say. I'm not an oppressor. We say this, don't we? I haven't done dhulm, I haven't oppressed anyone, I haven't committed anything. We say, oh, I'm happy, I'm saved now. Everyone who's listening now, we say, oh, that's it. I don't know what sin was going to be discussed, which sin was going to come up. We think we are free. Everyone should say that we are dhalims. Then we will be saved. Everyone's heart should feel that we are dhalims. Yes? Then I'll be saved. We thought, no, I'm saved, I'm free, it's not me. I don't know what Hadhrat Sahib was about to say. I haven't got this sin in me. I don't do this sin. No. Just one. There are many actions of dhulm. I won't go towards them. Taking somebody's wealth, dhulm, swearing, and disrespecting the youngsters, and oppressing the wife and children, and the wife on the husband, and the husband on the wife. Yani mashra, societal intercourse today is right at the bottom of the heap. We say, oh no, that's not me. I'm fair. Okay, fine. But tell me one more thing. Let's pay attention and then say that you're not a dhalim, or we are not dhalims. We're not doing dhulm. So from today, we need to think, my brothers, that anyone from us, nobody should think that we are dhalim. Do you understand what I'm saying? That even from the mouth of the enemy, the statement will say, no, he didn't do dhulm. He didn't commit oppression. He'd leave us. There'll be people like this, won't there? There'll be people like this, yes. That's why I stated that when you see that there's argumentation, disputes, quarrels, may not be that I'm a dhalim, so that person leaves his rights as well. Say subhanallah, he leaves his rights. So Hasan Thawri rahmatullah stated that the parents, I'll come back to the hadith now. Do you see how much importance is laid on the parents? Now listen to the hadith. Who will be the dhalim and thereafter. He stated that person who does dua for himself, but at the same time, his physical and spiritual parents who brought him up, who are looking after him, they, and also in addition to the spiritual and physical parents, they and those people who the Prophet ﷺ loves the most. Who does Nabi ﷺ love the most? The Rasulullah went on Mi'raj and he spoke to Allah. They were seeing each other, and who did the Prophet ﷺ feel bad about? Hazrat Hussain radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anhu? No, he felt sad about his ummah. Allah, what will you give for my ummah? What shall I take for ummah? Allah gave a gift, and the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah, what about my ummah? Do something for them. Imagine the love, how much the Prophet ﷺ loved the ummah. Allah said, okay, fine, I'll give you such a gift. How will they remember? They won't even appreciate that today me and you have met. So as a commemoration, I'm seeing you, you're seeing me. So I'll give you the enjoyment of this to your ummah. take these 5 salah. In every salah, the person who prays will get this enjoyment. Subhanallah. Isn't it stated? Salah is the Mi'rajul Mu'mineen, is the ascension to the heavens for the mu'min. That you look to the heavens, and the test of your love is what? That your ummah will be on the earth and remembering me and praying to me, Allah says, and they'll be as if they are doing miraj, as Allah says, that the hadith of the Prophet is that worship Allah as if you can see Him. And obviously some people will be feeling this, who will have fed their soul, who would have had a spiritual father, who would have been prepared. Definitely they are doing the prostration and praying salah in the right way. Isn't it stated, oh, your child, he's an orphan, he has no father. Those children, they wander around the streets, the alleyways, they doss around. If the father is there, the shadow of the father, the shade, he looks after the child in school, madrasa, makes him a hafid. Father does, isn't it? In the same way, those people, they are yatim, they are orphans whose soul is drowned in sins. They have no spiritual father. Those who have spiritual father, he doesn't allow them to commit the sins. They send them to school, they do analysis accounts, become a hafid, do good, don't waste time. Do you understand what I'm saying? 100%? Put your hands up if you understand what I'm saying. So, okay, fine, good. Right, let's continue. So now, let's go towards the hadith. That a person who does dua himself, and dua, we have an opportunity to dua any time. A person can do dua any time. And we should do dua all the time. After nafil, voluntary, after tilawat, recitation, salah, after any time when you're sitting, standing, wherever you are, you can do dua. Do durood sharif once and do dua. Yeah, there's no apportioned time that you can't ask Allah. Ask from Allah any time. Allah says there are times when our special mercy of mine is there. If after fard you do dua, my special mercy is there. If you go to the Kaaba, my special mercy is there. If you go to the gathering of the Wali Allah, my special mercy is there. There are special places and times Allah has mentioned. But asking from Allah, Allah says don't hesitate, don't delay. Ask from me any time, don't hesitate. That whenever you have a need from your Rabb, stand and straight away ask from Allah. First, tajib lakum, ask, Allah says I'll give to you. Ask in the street, in the alleyway, on the road, on the bus, walking, wherever you are, there's no veil between me and you. Allah says, why? Because I'm the one who gives and you are the one who takes. Subhanallah. This is the relationship between us and Allah. So, Allah says, the Hazrat Tawri Rahmah said that when you do dua for yourself, you leave your spiritual father, your physical father, and you forget the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ. So it's stated that he is the biggest zalim, he is the biggest oppressor. The person who does that empty dua. Do you understand the meaning, my brothers? So now tell me how big an action is dhulm, severe a sin. That person who does dua for himself when he forgets his parents, and additionally, he forgets the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, forgets the Muslims, he's not doing dua for them, then he is the biggest zalim, he will be the biggest zalim on the Day of Judgment.